Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. This is another special one. You guys loved it last time. It is Cody Collects here with my good buddy Dom. How you doing, Dom?
Dude, I am living. I hope you are living too. That's the most important part, right?
We're trying to live out here. Actually, on the eve that we're recording, guys, we're about to get hit by a massive snowstorm on the East Coast. So hopefully everybody stays safe out there. And yeah, shout out to Dom for joining me for yet another most anticipated graphic novels of the month. This month we're talking about March. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming. First off, Dom, was it kind of hard choosing your top 5 for this month, or did you find it easier? Is there a lot of cool stuff coming that you were trying to pick between?
I think in this particular month, just because of the output that both big two corporate company, whatever you want to call it, because they had so many books out there, it was a little bit less difficult to seek through this is what book I want for this month, that month, etc. It was just nice to get a feeling and understanding of like, okay, like there's a couple more books that, I want here versus February, where things are slowing down after the holiday season.
That's right.
Rightfully so. So nice to have some easier books to pick from the docket in terms of the overall standing here.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, because I remember you and Omar were saying, yeah, so Feb is maybe kind of the slower time, but as we ramp up into March, into the spring, into the summer, we're going to see a lot of more output maybe from these publishers. So yeah, that's cool. And you guys know the site that we're using, comicreleases.com. You see it on the screen right here. Shout out to Dom and his partner in crime over there for putting this all together, keeping it running and keeping us informed. Comic book collecting, you can just like go to your shop and have a good time, whatever, but it helps a lot if you know what's coming out ahead of time. So hopefully this gives you guys an idea what we're excited about for upcoming collected editions for March. And we've gone ahead and chosen five picks each. So you guys are going to get a nice list here in this video. And as you guys can see as I'm scrolling through, this is all stuff that's releasing in March, all put together in a nice, easy to read format. And it has links out to where to buy them. And it has more details if you want to check the solicits as well. So this is how we're using to put together this video. Shout out to Dom and the good people over at comicreleases.com. With that being said, Dom, I will throw it to you for your first pick. Tell me about... As soon as it loads, tell me about Avengers No Surrender, No Road Home Omnibus. Tell me about that.
The crazy part I think about Marvel, especially during this time, right, where you had so many different Avengers books, so many different rosters. You try your main line, and then your new Avengers titles with Jonathan Hickman. You had Secret Avengers thrown in there with Nick Spencer was running it at one point. The Uncanny Avengers team that had previous X-Men on the team, like Rogue, Rick Remender doing it. And you have all of these Avengers books lined up to the point where it felt like, man, are we oversaturating it? Are we overdoing the line? Because that's what everybody wanted to see in 2012, right? The movie comes out, becomes the biggest blockbuster hit, right? And at some point, what Brian Michael Bendis started in the 2000s, right, where suddenly Avengers is selling just as well as the X-Men, if not better. What can you do with those characters? It feels weird to say this because Marvel, is running through some odd stuff with Fox and having the rights over there, but in the mid 2010s, you had Mark Waid, who was on all different Avengers, Al Ewing, who was writing New Avengers at the time, and you also had Jim Zub, who was becoming or just starting off his comic book career. And so those three teamed up for two specific weekly events, right? Two specific weekly events very much in the style of a 52, a Batman Eternal, Batman and Robin Eternal, where every single week you got a new issue detailing out something. And this is what this omnibus is. No Surrender,
Gotcha.
No Road Home. You get those three writers on those two specific events all into one. This used to be two separate hardcovers, and now they're putting it into one omnibus. And this is fantastic, guys. If you have not had a chance to read any of this at all, I might pick it up in a different color. If they do an Al Ewing Avengers or Mark Waid Avengers line omnibus, they managed to throw that in there, I might have to rewire my thinking at some point. But if you want just the weekly event, this is definitely something that should be on your list. If you're a fan of the creators, if you're a fan of good classic Avengers getting their tail back up to speed, especially if you're a fan of Wanda Maximoff after, I'll just say, Axis and the subsequent, whatever Marvel Studios decided to do with their character, we won't get into much of that here. If you're a fan of those things, this is definitely the omnibus for you.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So, yeah, someone who's still kind of exploring my Marvel comic book, especially in this era. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Number one for me, and we'll have to keep track as we're going through, guys. How many of the stuff between me and Dom? How many of it is Marvel? Okay, so yeah, I just want to keep note of that. All right, so first Marvel pick there. First pick for me, dude. We're going to the DC Finest. We know that Dom is a DC Finest boy himself. We got this classic Justice League of America material in a DC Finest. I think this is so sick. Someone who is really appreciating DC Finest and like the historical sort of approach that they're taking to these classic stories. Starro the Conqueror. We get some Gardner Fox stuff. I mean, just all the classic creatives attached here, and such an iconic cover, right? So yeah, I cannot wait to...
the Brave and the Bold 28, man. I mean, that's as iconic as you can get.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, I just cannot wait to dive into this and just really sort of... just dive into the deep end of the classic Justice League of America material, and I just cannot wait to have so much fun with this. So that's got to be my pick. Is this one on your radar at all?
It must be, right? Because unfortunately,
Omar... you've dug in a hole, DC Finest hole yourself. So
when your boss says, you pitch an idea to your boss, and then it eventually becomes, hey, like when are you gonna get the video out? It's always a matter of like, okay, like we gotta go read it. I want to say that, yeah, obviously, like I'll have my hands on it, but Mike Sekowsky, who does the art for most of the Justice League of America ongoing series, is, in my personal opinion, the most underrated Silver Age artist that we've had. I know, like, you talk about DC, right?
That's right. You were saying that,
right?
Yep.
Like, talk about guys like Murphy Anderson on Hawkman. You've got Gil Kane on Green Lantern. You got Carmine Infantino on Flash. You want to talk about like all of your top boys, like on those specific books. No one ever talks about Mike Sekowsky on Justice League of America, and it hurts my heart because the way that he directed action, back in the past, whether it's drawing bigger than life figures like the Spectre, or if it's just the team doing hooligans, runabouts, whatever it might be, Mike Sekowsky manages to retroactively fit all of those settings nearly perfectly into his book. It frankly, to the point where I'm like, why is this guy not yet talked about more enough? Especially, if you have somebody like Gardner Fox who's running show for, a lot of these books, especially with how wordy some of them are. You need strong artists who are going to be able to represent characters in a way that is going to be palatable for, especially at this point, young audiences who want to learn more about these characters. So shout out to Mike Sekowsky. You need more love, in my personal opinion, and I can't wait to get this book.
Nice, dude. Shout out. Nice. So yeah, dude. Okay. So yeah, I know Dom really pulls for Mike Sekowsky. I remember talking to Dom about that in the Solicit stream that we just had on Omar's channel. So yeah, but yeah, shout out Justice League of America, this classic material. Really excited about that. Of course, Dom, the finest, one of the finest boys, will be covering that. Let's jump over to Dom's number 4 pick. Tell me about this here. This Black Widow and Captain America by Wade and Somni omnibus.
I truly do. Okay, so until Kelly Thompson's run on Natasha came out, it was super difficult for me to say that anything has been better than the Samney Wade run of Black Widow. This is the technical third stint that Mark Waid had on the Captain America together. I call the early, the pre-2010s portion, the first part of Mark Waid's Captain America, the second portion, hey, he's back on Captain America again. The same goes for Black Widow. I mean, if you want to see them continue, if you are a big fan of Batman and Robin Year One, or if you, like me, managed to read these guys, at least collaborating together, not separately, first in the 2011 Daredevil run, I know that Penguin might have some stick-ups against you because it doesn't want people to see the amazing Chris Samney cover of Black Widow. But
I know.
I mean, how can you say no to Wade and Samney together? I mean, every single time that these two manage to do something, the book always finds ways to grapple me as a reader, as a person. And it just to see these two like work in tandem for so long together, like 15 years now, which I think is so crazy.
That's sick. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, so this one wasn't one that's on my radar, but yeah, as I'm exploring more of my my Marvel side of stuff, and then just another collaboration of Wade and Somni. This is just a must grab at some point for sure. I guess like you're saying, it follows Mark Wade's previous stuff on Captain America, so maybe this isn't one that I am like rushing to get right just away. But yeah, definitely one on my radar for sure. Jumping over to my number 4 pick, gotta give some love to this excellent Chris Condon Green Arrow run. This is the conclusion of it.
Rest in
excellent
peace.
Stuff from Montos on the on the interior art. Adriana Lucas on the coloring. Like this series was just so tuned in. I really think they had so much room to grow, and I was really loving it. Unfortunately, it got the axe. I'm hoping that, I don't know if this could, I don't know. It's a new kind of world we're living in with what DC decides to print and in what format they decide. But at some point, man, it'd be so cool to get a Chris Condon Montos Green Arrow Deluxe Edition. I mean, that would just be,
for sure,
just be so sick. I think it's like a perfect like 3-issue type of run or something like that. So that could be really cool. But for now, I think I'll stick with the trade. This is one that I would upgrade from my singles. To be honest with you, I would upgrade from my singles because I don't know, like the I might get rid of the singles, I guess. Like this is a series that I'm not like really attached to my single issues from, and this is one that I would truly upgrade into the trade paperback format just to have something nicer on the shelf. Because I really do think it is one of those runs that I thought was excellent as it was coming out. So yeah, that's got to be my number 4 pick.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people might be trade rating this too, so yeah, perfect time.
I think in terms of this series, well, I think being the best Green Arrow, anything that we've had in the last 15 years, or ever since that I started reading comics anyways, like I'll take this over Percy, I'll take it over Williamson, I'll take it over when the Hive Mind, or for those listening, Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, when they took over from Percy, right around the time Heroes in Crisis was coming out, when they had their little stint on Green Arrow. I'll take this run over that. I'll take this run over Dan Jurgens's. I'll take this run over Lemire. Like it's
over Lemire's too. Yeah, nice. I haven't read Lemire's yet, but I've heard that one's really good. So yeah,
so much like this, guys. It feels so much like Grell Green Arrow.
And as I'm reading the question Omnibus too, I'm getting a lot of shades of that it looks like Chris Condon and Montos are pulling from. Being inspired by O'Neill and Cohen for sure. So yeah, man, this is some excellent stuff. And I'm so glad that you're hyped about it too, and hopefully our excitement can infect the audience out there to go pick this up, because it really is just so excellent, and a lot of people were sleeping on it as it was coming out in singles for sure. So yeah, jumping over to Dom's number 3 pick. Tell me about Absolute Daytripper, my man.
Dude, I feel ashamed because everybody and their mother has talked to me about, like, I have a group of friends, like we have our own little whatever you want to call it, and back during a point in time, they were on pretty epic quest to find books that were super out of print, books that were super difficult to get a hold of, and because the Absolute had not been in print for such a long time, it was always a mission of like, hey, how many people can we go find and grab something? And I feel bad because I've never read the series, despite how many people have told me, like, yeah, it's taken my heart, it's broken my heart. And I applaud DC, because when we put out the DC Absolute reprint poll last year, this being so high on so many people's lists got DC to push the reprint forward multiple months ahead of time. This was supposed to not even, come out up until this point, and it's a big contribution to everybody who had a chance to vote for the poll. And we will, whenever we do open the DC Absolute poll, we'll absolutely tell you more about. Maybe we can even do something on that front, Cody. But it's also just like it's also a matter of fact in, like, if you can put these two creators to see like how many people are pouring out over something like this, where it's not like this random Wonder Woman or Batgirl or Zatanna. It's a creator-owned focused Vertigo book that is pulling people at the heartstrings. I think you've made something special, and I really do want to experience that for the first time, and that's why I can't wait to read it and get it for sure.
I got you, dude. Okay, so I know this one's a very legendary, like you're saying, very emotional read. It is something that has been on my list for a long time too. I have it in a trade. I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, I just haven't picked it up. But I know I feel like for something like this where it's so emotional, I got to be in like the right headspace, and like it could be coming up soon that I eventually pick it up, and it could be soon that I eventually read it and want to upgrade into this absolute. So yeah, I think this is an excellent pick. Very highly requested, like you said, and yeah, it just has this name attached to it. Like people just speak about it as if it's like one of the series of all time, right? So gotta be checking out Daytripper at some point. But those that are picking up in this absolute, yeah, this is really cool. Being reprinted here for 2026. Let's see, for me, my number, I lost count again. Number 3 pick, I'm going with Universal Monsters, The Invisible Man. I've got a nice little collection going of all the Universal Monsters hardcovers. I like that they're a little bit bigger. They're a little bit larger than standard size. They're like the deluxe edition and sort of the trim size. And I thought this Invisible Man stuff was like I guess at this point it's probably my 3rd favorite. Like I thought Frankenstein was so sick. I thought after Frankenstein, I'd probably put Dracula. I would probably put Invisible Man right there in 3rd. I thought it was really good stuff from James Tynion IV. The neon, the art is so sick. One of the craziest twists in a series came in the pages of this Invisible Man series. So yeah, I would really recommend people check it out. It's a perfect sort of short 4-issue horror series. And yeah, I gotta get it at some point to kind of fill out the nice little collection I have going. I think I'm missing Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I guess I have the Mummy right there. So yeah, just keeping it going with these hardcovers. A lot of fun with the Universal Monster stuff. So yeah.
Heck yeah, I need to get in on the action. I have been blindly recommending these series to so many people that I almost
there you go.
Because I'm like, I've never read them, but I hear they're good. So
yeah, it's just solid stuff. Really fun, really kind of fun, like initiative, I guess, to breathe like new life in a comic book format to these classic monster characters. So yeah, that's got to be my number 3 pick. Let's jump over to Dom's number 2 pick. I think this one right here. Yeah, tell me about your number 2 pick, Earth 2.
Yeah, so I thought, the synchronicity between 2 and 2, Earth 2, the New 52, and number 2 on my list just made sense. It doesn't make sense anymore in my head, but it made sense to me at the time.
I like it. I love stuff like that, man. So I'm here for it.
All right, so okay, that's fair enough. Even though the only icing on the cake would have been if this was Omnibus Volume 2, but we have Omnibus Volume 1. This is an alternate take on, I will hopefully try to explain it in kind for anybody who might not know too much about Earth 2 or too much of any of this sense. I have not read this in feels like ages. This is one of those New 52 series where I wasn't, because I was given a lot of trades by my cousin and my uncle in the Philippines. This was just like on the weird back end burner because I'm 100% certain that my cousin got me this because the Justice League were on the cover, and she must have not, you must have not known. That's like I even showed her. I have, for example, I got this book. This is a book signed by Jim Lee himself. This
there you
is the
go.
First trade of Justice League. So, but she got me this because you see these characters like, oh, I know who these guys are. Keep in mind that cover actually might be a little bit, it fundamentally might be a little bit misleading because some of those characters, I will say, don't live to see the end of the day. But this is really an alternate version of the Justice Society of America, because if you are starting a universe from scratch and you are either erasing everybody from previous existence, or you are going to condense people's timelines to the point where your Robins are now like 1 year away from each other of being a part of your family, you need to come up with an idea in order to differentiate whatever your Golden Age, Silver Age characters are, and modernize them in a way that makes it make sense to newbies who might not know who any of these guys are. So this Earth 2 features a completely different Alan Scott, a completely different viewpoint of the Justice Society that you're used to. And James Robinson is really the first one who picks it up, and who better to do it than the guy who literally revitalized JSA in the late 90s, and of course Starman, which I think is one of the best DC books ever put on print. And it's got Baby Tom Taylor on writing, and I feel like I need to give this portion another shot because while I don't know if I agree with all the character decisions that were made when I first read it back in the day, I do want to open myself up to say, is there anything coming in from a new readily fresh start that I feel differently than when I was a teenager such a long time ago?
I got you. Yeah, this one is interesting for all the reasons that you said. It's kind of interesting to me, the fact that it is, at its core, it sounds like an Elseworld story, right? And then you have Tom Taylor attached. He's probably the modern day, say what you will about the works themselves, but he's got to be like the modern day Elseworld king or something, like the king of Elseworlds. Tom Taylor is. So
right.
Yeah, just all the cool stuff he's worked on. It looks like maybe this is kind of like maybe where it started, and he kind of went down the Elseworld rabbit hole and went on to do Injustice. Maybe if this came out after, I guess. I don't know if that.
This came out. Let's see. Injustice was 2000.
Was Injustice before this?
14. He was on this book before Injustice.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just the whole his love of Elseworlds maybe kind of started here, and then he went on to do Injustice. He does Dark Knights of Steel and stuff like that, right? So Tom Taylor just have a lot of fun with this. One that I don't know if I'm not like racing out to get this one, but it's definitely on the wish list for sure. Just as I'm going through and exploring some of the New 52 stuff that I haven't read before. Definitely pretty interesting. I like that you've previously read this and you're kind of you want to go back and check to see if it maybe holds up or if you like feel differently about it as you're like more experienced as a comic reader. So
yeah, and I think it's an important habit to have, especially if you are a reader, to go back to a series or maybe it stung you at one point.
Right.
And if it didn't completely offend you, go back and say, well, do I like it more the next time around? Because stuff in your life will have happened, at least, in between those periods, whether it be a couple of months, couple of years, and you say, oh, wait, that thing I didn't like before, I can see now, or I understand why they decided to have this character do this thing, or made the story beat go in a different way than what you originally thought. So I think it's an important thing to keep an open mind with, every single book that you read, even with ones that you might not love or might not even like. I think it's important as a reader to keep your mind open at all times, to not immediately shut out something because you see it. You realize that the comics are an ongoing story. They will always change. And this being a different world, I think helps it better in this case because it's not the golden age 1940s or post-Crisis on Infinite Earths JSA that I'm dealing with. It's a completely different rendition of these characters.
Gotcha, yeah. Right on, dude. Right on, Dom. Let's go for my number 2 pick for me. Once it loads. We're going Helen of Wyndhorn. I've been waiting for this deluxe edition. I almost picked up the hardcover, but I'm like, nah, I gotta hold out. I have hope that they'll do a deluxe edition, and it looks like it's finally coming from writer Tom King, illustrated by Bilquis Evely, of course, with excellent coloring from Mateus Lopez. If that creative team sounds familiar to you, you might have read Supergirl Woman Tomorrow. But listen, I gotta admit, and I don't know if Dom feels the same way, I think this series is better, man. I mean, it's a creator-owned, unique IP.
100%.
I think it's got a lot of similarities, right? Like the strong, badass female protagonist, but I think the world of Helen of Wyndhorn is just, it's like otherworldly. And Bilquis Evely, if you could believe it, the art in here might be more beautiful than Woman of Tomorrow somehow. Like
even Tom King has admitted that in like 3 different. You think he's gone on record saying it, so it's a win.
It's just like pitch perfect. The whole thing is just so beautiful. The characters are just so cool, and just the scenario is real cool. Just this girl who's coming back to her sort of family home, and she's learning more about the sort of magical side of her grandpa. It's kind of like otherworldly, and it is one of those series that I am more than happy enough to upgrade until deluxe edition. This is definitely
I want to keep
the wish
your
list.
eyes popped up because this is going to be bigger than your deluxe. This is a library size, absolute size book that you're going to be hauling to your home.
Perfect. I guess that does maybe throw a wrench in. Where would I put that? Do absolutes fit in a Calyx shelf? They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll figure it
That's
out.
the point of getting a Calyx.
I didn't know if I eyeball it, it looks like it doesn't fit, but maybe it does.
It does. It will.
But yeah, cool. Right on.
It
dude.
will.
So yeah.
And next month when we record again, you can hammer my head if it doesn't.
Hold on. You guys get the live look. Okay. So we got the absolute Green Arrow from Kevin
Archer's
Smith and
class.
Phil Hester. Let's see. Okay, it does. Dom, you are correct. It does fit. You probably got like a centimeter up the top, but it does fit. So, okay, yeah, right on. Definitely picking this up then. That doesn't scare me at all. Even bigger, more beautiful Bill Quavely art. Say no more, Dom. I'm in. So, yeah, this is cool. I'll definitely on the lookout for this one. Easily my number 2 pick. Let's jump to Dom's number 1. What do we got here, Dom? Let's see. I see X in the tab thing. Here we go.
It's the series that got me my name. To those who might be watching me for the first time or maybe a different time, I'll reiterate the story again. I was optioned in by my friend who was working at the comic shop at the time, or he still works at the comic shop. I no longer do. But he and his other friend were part of this bigger network. It's called the Grand Geek Gathering Network, and they really wanted a brand new podcast from him. And so my buddy and I pitched an X-Men podcast series where we just talk specifically about X-Men books. And Dawn of X was coming out at the time, and I'm not too big. Well, at that point I wasn't too big of a Marvel guy because the only things that I were reading were DC books. I wasn't into any of the hip dang fangled Marvel stuff. I'd never watched even any of the Marvel shows like Spectacular Spider-Man. I didn't grow up with that. I didn't grow up with Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I didn't grow up with any of the big iconic Marvel shows that you probably think of nowadays. But House of X just made me such a big X-Men fan. I had no idea what the heck was going on with 10% out of the book. And even though I hadn't had an established history with some of those characters, I had watched some of the live action films. I was like, this Earth is pretty cool. This universe that Hickman and Duggan and Leah Williams and Teenie Howard and Vita Ayala, Zeb Wells, Benjamin Percy, everybody else that you could, Al Ewing, everybody else that you could think of. Wow, this is a pretty cool, completely new concept of these characters, these X-Men characters that you all saw at the mansion are now building a nation permanently. And they have their little own private island where nobody else is granted access unless you're a mutant or you are a Homo superior. So big shout out to Hickman and the folks for getting me into the fandom, and I probably wouldn't be here had it not been for this. So that is indeed where my name comes from, and I can't wait for this omnibus to come out.
Dang, okay, I got you. So yeah, so it's got like a bunch of layers onto why this is kind of intriguing to you. So yeah, okay, right on. Because I was looking at the price and I'm like, okay, 150, but I'm assuming that the page count here 1,344 coming out at the end of March here. If you're into the Hickman kind of era for the X-Men stuff, this is probably a must get. And so volume 1 is probably already out at this point, right?
It's already out. It's on my bookshelf. Love it. Kissed goodnight twice. No, it actually was like on my bed twice because I was moving around my bookshelf at that point. So yeah, volume 2 is going to be epic, and I can't wait to have it and upgrade from my singles to this quite happily.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. So Dom's number 1 pick, some X-Men love. It's where Dom gets his name. It had to be the first number 1 out the gate, right? So makes a lot of sense there. My number 1 pick, we're jumping over to the DC side of stuff.
Of course,
gotta give a shout out. Dark Patterns, Dan Waters, love them. So much good stuff here. Hayden Sherman on the art, just excellent on the interiors. And yeah, this is just such a fun concept. It's 4 cases that Batman's going on, each 3 issues long. But at the very end, we see that all the cases are sort of linked together. This really does give me the same vibe of the Matt Reeves Batman movie. And if you are into that, like the early kind of Batman still kind of getting the hang of things, like it's an earlier point in his career. This is just such a perfect series. And for a long time I was like, dude, is this my favorite coming out when it was coming out single issues, or is Batman Batman and Robin Year One? They were kind of going back and forth for that top spot. At the end of the day, I still might give it to Batman and Robin Year One, but Dark Patterns is still really good. Don't be missing out on this one from Dan Waters and Hayden Sherman. What about you, Dom? Is this on your... I wish this was a deluxe edition, right?
Yeah.
But what are we thinking about this
one? I am again praying that they do the same thing that they did with both Three Jokers and Doomsday Clock. When after the standard size release, whether that be trade paperback, hardcover, just push it into absolute,
please,
because this series deserves it. This series deserves it. I picked up all in singles. I got I know I keep flexing, but getting the talk to Dan Waters every single time before a new arc was going on, just to like get his spin and take, and listening to him talk about Arnold Wesker in ways that I hadn't even thought of before. You know, man, I mean, yeah, this is maybe like, it's so good to the point where like my judicious nitpicks, and I do have quite some nitpicks with the series, are like, they're minuscule. Like they're like, if I really wanted to whine and moan and complain about it, like this is what it's so good that I'm pulling at strings. I'm pulling at straws, man. Like that's how good the series is. So yes, I co-sign on your number one. I can't wait for it to be out in the hardcover so I can upgrade my singles. Yeah, my singles will happily go to a friend or something. I'll find somebody who will be able to take them off me. So
agreed, absolutely. Batman Dark Patterns, we're loving it. Hopefully, if you guys missed out and you've been trade waiting it, this is the trade. So hopefully you guys pick it up at your local comic book stores, or you could use the links. Dom's got them all on the Comic Releases website. Used all the codes to help Dom out, of course. All the comic releases.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored. We just love all the good work that Dom and the good people over at Comic Releases do. Just real quickly, I wanted to give just one shout out. Looks like the only absolute release this month. We talked about the second volumes of the Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman last month, but we have Absolute Superman volume number 2 coming out as well in the month of March, so look forward to that. With that being said, Dom, this is another great lineup of collected editions. We look forward to doing this every single month. I'm pretty sure you guys seem to love it, you guys the audience. So Dom, where can people find you? Do you got any other cool projects in the works that you want to give some extra shout out to?
Sure. No, well, thank you again for having me, and I'm glad that this is going to stick every single month, because I just love talking about comics, because you know, this is the thing we love to do. You can find me, of course, at comicreleases.com, where we do have the longest running and most up-to-date, literally as soon as I get the updates on whatever X book is, whether that be in content, price, etc., they are uploaded as part on the site. Same with release date. As soon as something gets delayed, we're the first to get it, so check us out over at comicreleases.com, where you can also get that and a bevy of your solicitations in a nice organized format, because we do believe that organization is very, very important. Same goes for if you see a book and you're like, man, why did that get pushed back? Why did they get pushed back out of release? Well, we also have our own little look at the update log as far as what might have been pushed and what might not have been. And if something is oddly out, don't worry, it will come back in as soon as they go back on Lunar, Penguin Random House, wherever they might be. So again, just a long-running table of everything else that you can think of. You can also check me out at Dom of X, where this Friday, we'll be talking about these nice DC finest with the January releases with my good buddy Curtis Finley from Clover Press and the Epic Marvel podcast. So check that portion out, and hopefully I will be able to push up some more videos soon. But as always, Cody, thank you for being awesome and allowing me to be on your channel to talk about all the amazing books that are coming out in March.
Absolutely. Shout out Dom for joining me. Stay safe out there in the snowstorm, everybody. Take some time to read some comics while you're stuck inside. Always a good time. So yeah, thanks to Dom, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next month, and read more comics.